Hello, everyone. I'm super happy to be joined today by Debra Wilder. Again, we're going to have another discussion around dating and all sorts of juicy stuff about dating. Hi, Debra. Welcome.
Hi. I'm excited for another dating talk, digging in even deeper about this. And having fun.
Okay.
I think everyone's going to enjoy this topic. Be fun, but also learn some things, get some ideas.
Hopefully, yeah. So for everybody that is new here, I would like to say a few words about Debra before. So Debra Wilder is a meditation teacher trainer and has been teaching Tantra over 10 years. She focuses on practices for solo before moving on to partner practices. She previously worked as a certified dating coach in Silicon Valley, and she currently lives in Florida, USA. No storms there, right?
Nope, not today.
Okay, good. So the weather's on our side. Okay, so we're continuing the dating saga, let's call it like that. And today we're going to talk about the future of dating, and we're going to get into what that future is. Then we're going to talk about expectations that people have around dating. And we're going to end on a positive note with a few fun topics like habits, hobbies, juicy stuff to look into to make yourself more interesting when you're dating. Okay, so with no further ado, let's look at so you brought this stuff up about the future of dating, which I thought was, I was oblivious to it. And we have a structure here, like guys, I'm reading from a structure. You have a lot of juicy information here. So I'm really gonna let you, because I haven't done, okay. I'm not in the future of dating yet.
Yeah, I wanted to look up how people are dating now after 2020, 2021. Things have changed a lot. We've got more used to not doing the old style of dating, meeting and then going out to dinner. People are dating differently. I wanted to sort of research. I looked up some studies on that because I was only assuming things for my own self and seeing how friends dated. I don't have social media, so I'm not seeing a lot of what goes on. So I looked at actual news and studies. So just to give you an idea, a lot of things talk about how people are more meeting on apps these days. I know a lot of our audience probably has met people in the past, say at workshops or yoga studios, networking events. But the big thing now is dating apps. And this study that I really liked reading says, dating is expensive. People have gotten used to maybe meeting in parks rather than meeting at a coffee shop or a restaurant. People will still meet in coffee shops. So I wanted to read, video chat has been more normalized for work and family and also for first dates. So people save time rather than commuting, driving, or walking to a date place and spending money over drinks or food, and safer for women in particular to meet a stranger. 44% have done a virtual date. So their first date was a video date.
Was that a hookup date or?
Oh, I don't know.
They don't say that.
They did not say that.
Hmm.
That would be quite bold.
I heard something about Skype going, I don't know, shutting down or something because people were using their app for having virtual sex.
Shutting down, like it was too many users, or?
I don't know. So they didn't like the fact that most of their users started using it for virtual sex, not getting to know the person, but just, I don't know how they, I'm not sure if these apps are allowed to actually look at what your, like your private conversation, unless you.
Oh, yeah, Skype. That's why many people switch to Zoom because Skype is more monitored. But people that were living separately, that's what they were doing during the beginning of the pandemic thing,
Well,
during the lockdown. Yeah. Some of them that were living separately, you know. This says 65% say they will continue doing virtual dates even after 2021.
How do we feel?
And I like it. It's good to get to know someone by video and see what they look like. I know for me and other friends I know, it is scary meeting someone because you don't know they're going to look, if they're going to look like their photos from the app. I've heard endless stories where someone looks different, or I haven't met anyone that say like 200 pounds bigger than they say. I've heard that, but I haven't done that. I will get more, maybe people who are several years older than their photos.
I got that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially right now, many people have photos of them traveling from like 2018, 2019, and they don't have many new photos. Or I know for like the guys watching, you're looking at a lot of pictures of girls where they have all these filters on their faces, men or women dating women. It's like you can't tell what the women look like because they have this fake makeup or weird ears, and
oh wow,
they use these filters, and that's like all their profile pictures. You don't know, you don't have an idea of what they look like. So it'd be better to do a video date and see. Or people take pictures from angles that you can't really tell what their body looks like at all.
Yeah, that one's
so.
My experience here was, at least when I shut down my app, I knew it wasn't for me, but I was like, okay, let's have an experiment and see what comes up or what comes out of it. And one of the dates that I went on, actually in his photos, it was a photo taken 10 years previously, and he was thinner, darker hair. And when I met him, he had started having white hairs and he was chubby, obviously. It was not something bad. What I appreciated was that in the chat before we met, he wrote and said, you know, I've been told that I don't look like in the photos. And I was like, okay, are you that different? So he sent an actual, took a snap of himself from the cell phone and sent it right there. And I was like, okay, I appreciate that. Okay, it's a different view or image, but I appreciate that you told me prior. So, but I guess it wouldn't, like, the photos looked good. So I'm guessing they used them because they look better than you doing a selfie. So
almost like a catfishing thing. Like he lured you in, but before meeting in person, he told you, he showed you what he really looks like. Which I appreciated.
Right then, he gave me the opportunity to say yes or no. I could have canceled. I didn't. I was relaxed. I told him, look, I don't have any stakes here. I'm super relaxed. Let's see what comes up. I mean, it's just for conversation. You are absolutely okay to meet over a cup of tea and have a conversation with you. We're human beings. So, you know, like I come from that humanistic perspective. Totally not sexy, right?
Yeah, I would be surprised if more people don't continue virtual dates just because of things like that. But I mean, I get why he did it.
He did look good. He was slimmer, so I didn't tell him that, but I thought that.
But you got to see his personality.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what the numbers.
So this is shocking. What percentage of people want to be exclusive before meeting in person? So say they do a virtual date and then they decide, oh, let's both be exclusive before we actually meet or even go on a date, like exclusive, not dating other people.
Is one of the two like Keanu Reeves or Tom Cruise or Johnny Depp or somebody that you already know and you like
would be willing? Yeah. No. 37%. Over 1 in 3 people are willing to be like monogamous before they even have met.
They hate.
And this wasn't like a hookup app study. It was a study of people that want a relationship, but it's not like a religious one or anything. 44% they're worried that their social skills would be atrophied from not dating in person for a long time or being around people in general.
Do you want to expand on that a bit?
Well, I don't know how it is in Romania, but when people are working more, a lot of us have been working remote for almost 2 years now, and we haven't been going out to, say, events and bars, and even a lot of yoga studios have completely closed business.
Yeah.
So however people would interact with each other, they haven't been doing that as much. So now that they're trying to meet people, they're feel like, even when I took a long break from going out in public and then I thought about, oh, how am I going to talk to other people, or body language, that sort of thing. It made me a little nervous.
Well, you're talking to the wrong person, because before I shut down my app, the last guy that I dated, he was like a fitness fan. He looked like super hot. But nothing, like, it was just one date and that was it. But I showed up with my wolf, like that was my test for me. Do you like my wolf? Fine. You don't? Nasty. And I showed up, no makeup, like no hair. Now, yeah, just a regular top, some loose pants, because I say when I walk my wolf, I say that I dress scandalously, meaning like, you wouldn't want like paparazzi would take photos of me, and if I were famous, and say, oh my God, she looks like that. And these normal sneakers and all that. I have, when I'm relaxed, I have a super big mouth. I was talking like all sorts of crap. And this guy was like, you know what? I'm actually impressed that somebody with such a public, like, I don't know, public stance here in our country, which is not that great for me. I mean, I'm not that public, but like they talk like that, they show up like that in a party. Like, you seem very, very normal. You seem like my high school colleagues. And I was like, well, if I can't show up like that, how the heck am I supposed to pretend or expect to be intimate with somebody if I can't really goof around with them?
Yeah.
When I meet in person.
Yeah, maybe that's one thing that will change, like being more natural, not being fake, like not having to put on a bunch of makeup and wear a dress and high heels and only talk about polite things, be very formal.
Not for me. I mean, I'm the kind of woman that dreams to go on a date, like not necessarily rock climbing, but in the gym where you go climbing on special gyms, or ping pong, or I don't know, do stuff, not sit around and have a cup of tea. That's my horror date, unless I'm in love with the guy. If I'm in love with him, yeah. But I don't know, like you said that people lost their social skills. What I can't really, I don't know how not themselves were they before that it's so hard now to get into that persona. I'm super curious. If anybody here watches and has a clue, like if you show up on dates and you're not you're somebody else, and right now it's hard for you to tap into that person, Maybe you can drop, maybe you can create like an anonymous profile so that nobody knows your name, and you just drop a comment there and let us know. I would love to know that. Yeah. I don't know how that goes. Like, we forget to
Yeah, and it's not just dating, it's also just friendship, seeing friends in person again. But I'm not sure what they're doing. Maybe they're like belching in front of the other person, or it's just the topics. If we spend a lot of time alone, not verbally communicating, maybe we're talking about stuff we shouldn't be, which is still natural. I know I went on a date with someone this week and I asked a question that they considered abnormal.
Shock me, please.
Oh, well, geez. Because on their dating app profile, they mentioned something about being into kink and that they're not into vanilla. And I'm like, well, if they wrote it on there, I'm going to ask about it. Like, I wouldn't ask like a person that didn't say that. So I'm like, well, I might as well ask because I don't want to be with someone too freaky. I want to know whatever this kink is. So I just, like, far into the date, I asked them about it.
And they were pissed off?
No, it just didn't come out very smooth.
Okay. If you put something out there, like on your dating profile, unless you said it like in a very frizzy way, I don't know how to say it otherwise.
And maybe I tried to use the best communication I could. Like, I thought about it somewhat before I said it. I think maybe it was more the other person was not expecting it, and they weren't as up on social skills. Like, I think they hadn't been on a date since all this year, like the beginning of the year, and it's September, so that's a long time to not be going on dates.
Again, you're talking to the wrong person. Sometimes I go years without dating anybody. So,
but I mean, if yes, I talked about some things that you maybe normally wouldn't on a first date, but if so the person puts it on their dating profile,
exactly,
and it's a possible yellow flag, red flag, I want to ask before going.
Yeah.
Again.
I wouldn't worry about that. It's like, next. Okay. If I can't ask you about the stuff that you write there, then what the heck am I supposed to ask you on a first date? That's like, it's like you meet somebody, we're pre-pandemic, pre-Zoom, Skype, whatever. You meet somebody accidentally, like you just meet them on the street, shop somewhere, and then the second time you meet them on a date intentionally, you ask them, okay, so when we met like in the street or in the shop or wherever we were, you were saying or doing, you were wearing something, and they react like, oh, that's inappropriate. Really? That was our first interaction. Why is it inappropriate to ask about our first interaction? Now it happens to be on your profile, which you can edit totally. It's under your control.
Yes.
We're going to get into expectations later on. Okay, I'm zipping it.
And this one article closed out with something I like, which is, it says, there is this feeling that I'm not going to wait around. So by first doing like a video chat before meeting in person, you're not just wasting a bunch of time thinking you have a bunch of, years of dating ahead of you. Like the old way was some people went out on dates every night or almost every night, sometimes multiple dates. Now people are, aside from say Tinder users, people are taking time to be conscious of who they're going on dates with, not just out of boredom, but only people that line up with possibly what they're looking for, not just going out with someone because of how they look. So I liked that, that it's not in a desperate way, it's in a way, oh, I'm not going to wait around. I'm not going to think have infinite time and go on 300 dates per year. I'm going to look for the right woman or man and get to know them. But too, like I said, they mentioned it's safer. So that's the other thing with like dating from apps is they actually have all these signals. Like if you go, say, to a bar, there's like a code word you can use. If you met up with someone that acts psychotic or something, you can give the bartender this code word and they will slip you out the back door.
Wow, I don't think we have that in our country.
Yeah, I went to this, it's like a bar / pizza place, and in the women's bathroom, they had a sign up. If you're on a Tinder date and the person is scary or something like that, dangerous possibly, or not who they seem to be, and you are afraid, to the bartender or waitress, give the code word something like Rachel, or I forget what it was. They use some word or order a certain thing, and they like a certain drink. Some bars have that too. You order a certain drink and they will get you out of there or get security to help you out or whatever and walk you to your car.
Probably a drink that is not in the menu, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. If anybody owns bars here, like totally strategic insight if you didn't know it already. I didn't. For me, it's new. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about before going live about the fact that in my country, we don't do research on how much people spend on dates or on their sexual health, or there's a lot of studies that we don't have around what people do. And to my knowledge, I don't know that there be studies or at least statistics on how dangerous dating is in our country. How many incidents happen with people meeting on a first date? No idea. Like, seriously. We don't really, I don't know, we don't research this stuff.
Yeah, I don't know the number either. I do know that we spend, on average, Americans in 2019 spent $700 a year on dates,
Mm-hmm.
which isn't a huge number for us, but it's large enough to matter.
I'm guessing 2020, 2021, that sum went way down.
Way down, because now we're meeting at parks for free.
Awesome.
Or just having a cup of coffee, or like you said, meeting at the dog park.
So we were having a discussion before we went live, and I was sharing how I go about dating. I tried like an experiment a few months this year. I shut that one down, but yeah, I take my wolf with me, and that's the test. And we don't go sit on cafes or at cafes and buy a lot of stuff. We just walk the dog around the park and we talk in the meantime, and we look at the scenery. And that's how I can feel if like I have enough time to feel the person out, smell them.
Yeah, me too. And it's more natural. One of the things I dislike most in the world is having to have a conversation while eating. Like, I'm definitely a yogi that doesn't like to talk during meals, or very little. The first date thing of where you talk like 90% of the date and then you can only eat like a few bites, I don't like. We could just be having a beverage, or just not even eating or drinking, period. Like, to try, like when they're asking you questions and you have like food in your mouth, I don't like it at all. But another way, I think about my friends and students in India, and they get together, they meet with their family. Like, they go on the first date and they all meet with their families, and they're all just kind of hanging out. So, they're not, some people do regular mainstream dating, but that's another way to do natural. Just meet up with families. I wouldn't want people meeting my family, but
we bring grandma, grandpa, and auntie, and I don't know, uncle, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess in the Western world, we would probably invite the person like to a barbecue or back a picnic with a family and just see how they got along with the family.
But would that be on a first date?
It could be.
Wow,
I would
pressure.
see. I wouldn't like doing that. For me, it would be too much pressure
Duh.
to go meet their family. But some people would be totally fine with that.
Wow. In my country, it doesn't even happen. Like, I don't know how many people like we don't bring our dates to our families unless it's something serious. And take our family on a date with somebody who brings their family along? Jesus, no, really not a common thing here. No, seriously. So I guess that's
Right.
that's a cultural thing. Yeah. Okay. What does the research say? Any other numbers that we can?
That is all of the numbers. Yeah, it said only 44% have done virtual dates. So the rest of people either haven't been on a date or they haven't tried virtual dates yet.
Have you tried virtual dating?
I don't think I have.
For sure I haven't. What would this be something that would we have a
I haven't done it just because I didn't like the pressure of asking people to, hey, let's do a video chat. And I've also met some people like actually in person instead of dating apps. But on dating apps, well, for one, I think many people are like me. They are too impatient for talking and texting with people a long time on dates. Like you want to get to know someone on a dating app, but you don't want to talk forever. And then the people that I have communicated longer and met, I thought it was kind of rude, or I didn't know how to go about asking them to do a video chat before as a first date. So I was just like, okay, let's go on a date. Mm-hmm. And then you do get to see the physical chemistry. But I really want to start doing the virtual dating. And I'm curious how, in the video comments, how it's worked out for people that have tried that.
Yeah, if we have here people that have gone on virtual dates, I'd love to know that. Right. So that's the future of dating, huh? Hybrid, basically.
Yeah, that's the future of dating, hybrid dating, a combination of video and then meeting in person.
Okay. I'm waiting until.
And I will cut in here. I think there's also going to be in the future added on for people serious about relationships, more of kind of electronic matchmaking, sort of like where people take sort of like quizzes or answer questions, and then you get to see oh, this person meditates or doesn't meditate, this is their sign, where everything, rather than asking them questions and hope they're honest about it, or like 3 dates in, learn there's a major deal breaker, like that person's into kink and the other person is very vanilla and won't do any kink, like things that are huge. Like, wouldn't it be better to just say not go on the date or many dates with a person that had some red flags or non-complimentary thing? I think that will be part of the future of dating, is not spend a huge amount of time dating. I know some people find dating fun, but it's kind of time consuming.
So I got,
you don't think?
I got a download, figuratively speaking, download. While you were mentioning that, I was like, what about the spiritual perspective where you actually learn to take life with all its surprises and all its flavors? I think that is gonna, not going on dates might make us rusty, but filtering to the point where we can't handle people that are different from us or different from what we expect.
True. Yeah, and maybe we will change. But I think it's different. Like, you could be friends with almost anyone. But, you know, I mean, for yourself, there are certain things we have. Like, let's say the other person really wants children. They want 5 kids, and we want like 0 kids or 1 child. But the other person's like, no, I want 5 children no matter what. Like, that would be a mismatch, right?
Definitely.
So there are some things.
Yeah. But I wouldn't, like, here's my take on dating, on life in general. I would first want to know the person, and I would really want to feel, like, smell, quote unquote, I have the saying, smell them out. Yeah, it's probably because I have a wolf and he smells everything. So yeah, when somebody's new, he goes like, okay. But so I would want to first of all get a feel of the person, because maybe he also might want as many kids or no kids depending on where I am, but he nonetheless might not be the person that I would want. So I'm I don't think I'm not sure if technology was designed to cut us from really sensing and interacting with people. I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I don't know who's developing this, because they're saying one thing and then turns out it's something else. But or maybe nobody knows. It's just something that unfolds on its own and people start to use it however they choose to. And this is it's a big social experiment with all of us, like the entire life. Living on planet Earth must be a social or spiritual experiment from some perspective. But we do have our natural filters, but we would have to interact in person with somebody. And besides,
yeah, eventually. I'm not saying like hundreds of things, just maybe a dozen big things. Mm-hmm. Like monogamy or polyamory, kids, no kids, or maybe kids.
For me, I would still like OkCupid. I said that we weren't gonna mention any apps, and then I hear it. So there was one app that had this, like they had dozens and dozens of questions. And I remember when was this? 2019, I think. I tried that app. I only met 2 people and I said, okay, no. We were in numbers, like in all those questions, and statistically speaking, we were like a match 80% more. But in person, there was zero chemistry.
Yeah.
I was like, no. Numbers. I think there were some documentaries that I saw in the past where people were trying to bring science to matching people. Well, they were using it for facial features and other old school studies that were saying that people with this kind of features are this kind of people and they need somebody who's similar to them or whatever. And it turns out in actual live experiment, actually the people matched in completely non-predictable ways. So I still think that too much rationalizing of something that should be, our choices of partners are first and foremost emotional. You can't filter out emotion through numbers. So that's my take.
No, I agree with the part that doesn't mean they're a match. You still have to meet and see if there's chemistry, that you're actually attracted to each other in person, that they smell good, they smell right for you, that there's just some kind of chemistry. But I also believe, like, yeah, OkCupid, I had tried it. One reason I didn't like it is because, yeah, you could click certain things like what you were looking for, but I would have all kinds of people message me anyway, just based upon my pictures that weren't in line with what they were looking for. Or they would say, oh, that was more of a maybe. I guess I'll use my thing. Like, I used to be married and he was very against having children. But then I guess he got to know me. He's like, maybe we'll have kids. Like, I've seen this many times where the other person's like, they become a maybe for whatever the topic is. Mm-hmm. But then years later, like, we got married and then he had a vasectomy, which means he can't, have children. Eventually he had a vasectomy, but he became like, no, I absolutely want kids. And I wanted kids. So I married someone that had kind of clouded their vision because they liked me. So for me, dating, well, I don't want children anymore, but I'm 40. But there's certain things, like, I don't even want them in my sphere, in my vicinity, if they could see my picture and just cloud their vision or be dishonest or whatever it is.
Debra, first of all, I want you to know that to me, you look like you're 30. So you don't give away your age. That's one. And whatever the reason for, not wanting kids, that's totally different. But I just wanted to tell you, okay, I don't know what 40 should look like, but you look like 30. Yeah, so what we're doing right now, actually, we got into the second topic, which is expectations. What were the other, because we mentioned a few things that showed up in people. It was around how fast they answer, how prompt they are. Prompt, that's a Romanian word. How is that?
Prompt.
Yeah.
Right, that there's an expectation that someone has to answer messages immediately.
Exactly. Yeah, that was one. Then what was it? Around how much time we spend together. The income of the other person, Jesus. Yeah. What other expectations are there that we know of?
Maybe expectation of how the other person looks, dresses, acts. I'm thinking like, if the guy that met you in your scandalous clothes at the park, if he was expecting, a woman in like dress, high heels, makeup, and that always looks like that, there's many, people that expect the other person to always look and dress correct, whatever they find correct. That's another expectation.
I think that one was before the whole craziness with how people look. I think that was always there because we do choose based on looks also. I'll be honest here too. I see somebody and I'm attracted to them because they look a certain way. And usually it's the looks combined with the personality, which shows up
right.
Fast. So that one, I think, is a habit, right?
But the other thing is social media, because the last couple of years, people have been spending even more time on social media, I believe. And they're seeing people on Instagram, like they see men on Instagram with like all these muscles and no body fat. And they see women with like filters. And one of my guy friends said it actually just this week, that he loves women with dolphin skin, where it's this like super shiny, moisturized skin, like heavy. It's really heavy, like Botox and like fillers, like artificial stuff. And their skin looks like glass. And I'm like, those are like filters and Instagram. Like women, they don't look like that in real life when you meet them. But that's the other side. People have gotten used to seeing what women look like with filters. And yes, there's like the Instagram of very natural in comfy clothes, no makeup. And then there's the other side, like heavily plastic looking, like, oh, are you just going to expect women to get a bunch of Botox and fillers and always go to the plastic surgeon? Or do you want a woman that's natural and loves herself as she is?
You know, I'll give you a comparison here, because there is this thing like natural beauty and artificially aided beauty, basically. And those are definitely values that people do have out there. If like 20 years ago, anybody who had Botox or silicone implants, they were not seen well. Nowadays,
Yeah.
there really are trends. Like some people go for artificially aided beauty. Totally a thing nowadays. But and to me, actually, this seems to be like the artificially aided beauty seems to be more in demand. What I'm surprised at is I always knew that there's a category of men that actually, even when they reach 50 something, like we spoke in the first podcast that we did, they date 20-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they don't date the 20-year-olds that don't have the plastic feel or look. They date the ones that are artificially aided in their beauty.
Yeah, to them, that is normal. And we see like many of the movie stars and people on TV have that as well. But yeah, a lot of girls, it's a huge thing in Florida where I am. Somewhat it was in California too, but in Florida, almost everyone has this artificial beauty. Even if I go to like my veterinarian, her face doesn't move at all,
Okay.
Because she's had like Botox so that her face won't move. So she can't her eyes can't smile and like she can't frown type things. So like even people that shouldn't care too much about appearance now, in Florida, it's totally the norm for everyone to get some sort of plastic surgery type thing.
Men and women?
More women, but men too, especially men over like wrinkle age. Like they want to be looking like Tom Cruise.
And
because Tom Cruise is almost, he's almost 60 years old, but he looks very young.
And does he have face fillers and stuff like that? Do we know that?
Oh, I won't say that, but yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. So aside from those expectations, let's go, because I think this is also fundamentally, this is what you appreciate in terms of beauty. Natural beauty with its, actually everybody has I hate to use this term, for lack of a better one, I'm going to use it. Everybody has an expiration date or term. Everybody. We're all gonna say farewell and go to planet Neptune in spirit, whatever. But nonetheless, so some people appreciate natural beauty with its expiration date, which becomes more and more obvious. And some people really like the artificial fillers. And I think that goes to what do you appreciate in terms of beauty? Natural, artificial. Definitely, it's definitely a value thing, because I don't think that those people, you can't appreciate. Actually, I'm not going to make any value judgments here. So there might be more places in their lives where they appreciate either more natural things or more artificial things. But in terms of other kinds of expectations, like how promptly you answer a text message, or you don't call, you just text, because I've also seen that around. Mm-hmm. Let's look at those, because those kind of feel related to technology, which is the emerging thing right now. And this is the future of dating, right?
Yeah, people expect you to text instantly. And for me, like I'm working, sometimes it's half a day before I pick up my phone. Sometimes it's instant, but sometimes it's half a day, or I don't answer all day until like nighttime if I'm busy with a project. And I've had some people get angry and not want to date me because of this.
You got dumped over not answering fast enough. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those people.
Like, I understand if you're in a relationship and the person isn't working or isn't busy, or you have plans to meet up with them or something, like, then yes, you expect someone to text, but maybe send another text or give a phone call if you're in a relationship. But if you're just been on 0 dates or 1 or 2 dates, you have to not, don't be demanding of the person has to answer you within 5 minutes. Like, that's not a good expectation.
What would be a deal breaker? Do you have any deal breakers around answer time?
I guess it depends what time of day I message someone, but maybe like 24 hours. But if I message them in the morning and they don't message me that night, and they're not, say, working in a hospital or something, like, I think at least some messages that night, before they go to bed or something, like some kind of response. But even that can be understandable. Probably 24 hours.
Okay. I'm with 2 to 3 days. If you haven't answered in 2 to 3 days to something, then it's pretty obvious, yeah, for me. But before this entire craziness, I would actually let even a week pass sometimes. Maybe it was something that I needed to like think over or ponder over. So I would just, take my time, like a week or something, to respond. And other times, depending on the interaction, I would take a month to get back to people.
Oh.
Well,
yeah, you're right. If it's not like an urgent question, or there wasn't a question, you're just like randomly talking, then several days or a week is fine.
I value my freedom. I don't like me and what was it? The freedom, Braveheart. Okay, Mrs. Braveheart here. Okay, so I value my freedom. And if I'm not like, it takes a really long time for me to commit to somebody. I did go against my model, but I'm not doing that mistake again. So if I just met you, I don't have to instantly text you the next day and ask you out on a date again.
Oh, yeah, actually, I don't. Yeah, and that's another expectation. Like, I like a period of time. If they text, can we meet up tomorrow? I'm just like, I have to think about it, because I'm probably not going to be available the next day. I have other things to do. Like, I need to think about when I'm going to be available. It might be in days or a week away.
What's the rush? Where do you think people hurry so much with dating? Where are they running towards?
I don't know. Where did the anticipation go? You asked them out on Monday to go out on Friday. Like, where did that go? Now it's like they ask you out on Monday to go out on Monday or go out on Tuesday.
Yeah. Does that seem
like to get on it in as much time as quickly as possible? That's what it seems like with dating these days for a lot of people.
I would be choked by somebody like that. I would feel actually choked. And like I said, I value my freedoms. Like, give me space, man.
To me, if they want to meet, if you go on a first date and they want to meet this next day, to me, that seems like they're going to be trying to force you into a monogamous committed relationship in 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
They're wanting to make sure you don't meet anyone else or get bored or something. I guess it's sitting like actually speaking about expectations too. So if someone is dating someone that wants to take a long period of time and not communicate a lot, take a week, then if it's someone that needs to talk nonstop all day, like spend hours a day texting, that expectation should be set, and they should go look for someone else that is willing to text them hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that love hours of texting a day, and be communicating every day. I mean, if that's what makes them happy, they love talking and talking, then they should be with someone else like that.
I don't think somebody who values their freedom and somebody who needs to text throughout the day several times, I don't think those people would be a good match anyway. I don't think that's a match that would form. So
that's not a good match. No.
So, but still, I think I'm not sure if back in the day, like before being stuck at home, we had technology. We're just not stuck at home. I don't think people expected somebody else to answer like in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes to every text. I think people realized that we all had lives and we weren't just taking everybody for granted on their time, on their work time.
Yeah. That goes into our final topic of hobbies, because I feel like people that can spend hours a day texting probably don't have many hobbies.
Exactly. I'm with you there. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in your free time to grow yourself, to have fun, or even to just have things to talk about when you're dating?
So I think this sorry.
Like, if someone plays musical instruments, or they learned another language, or they read a lot of books on a certain topic, or they got into dancing or going jogging. Like, you need hobbies in your life to be interesting on dates too, and to like yourself.
Yeah. So to me, this question is, aside from your interest in dating and your interest in earning a living, which is the planet we live on, what else do you cultivate or grow in yourself? How else are you enjoying life? I think this is the kind, like, if we go back to that, what is your life about? Aside from dating somebody, let's say you're gonna marry eventually somebody or live together with somebody, and you're gonna keep working, but what else is your life going to be about? So, and when we think about it in this way, I think we put the stakes a bit higher than just impressing somebody on a date. We put the stakes on let's say you meet somebody who's super, super attractive to you, and you actually feel the genuine desire to have more time with that person. How are you gonna enjoy yourself with the person and then also with yourself? Because losing yourself in a relationship is probably not the best thing not a strategic thing to do. So how do you maintain yourself also there? How do you keep yourself or stay connected to yourself? I think that's how we should look at it. At least that's my take.
So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, I do encourage people to do physical activity. For the simple fact that, nowadays with people studying on sexuality online, a lot get crazy ideas. So you actually want to be in shape for some people out there for at least once a year to pull a crazy one. That's one thing.
The
other one, health. I think it's important also because you want to be in shape and you also want to be healthy. And that can mean a lot of things, like from psycho-emotional health, and those are meditations, retreats, spending time in nature, not necessarily learning survival skills, although at least for me, going out on a tent, like staying in a tent for a month, that would be like survival. It wouldn't be a trip, 3 days, 4 days in a tent. A month in the mountainside in a tent, that would be like, okay, we gotta get our food somehow, we gotta get washed, clean, stay safe. That would be survival for me. It would be like my version of Bear Grylls. Put me in a tent for a month. So yeah. And then what I would also like, my thoughts are also on, which is something that I totally suck at. How fun are you? Like I'm extremely, I got the worker bee energy. So I sit down and I work and I pay attention to all those details.
Yeah.
But that's not very fun. So I lack in this a lot. So
yes, unless the other person is like that, say they're self-employed and they love talking about marketing and videos and editing videos. Like I have many friends and we love talking about self-employed things.
Okay. I got the image of Aaron Dowdy and I'm like, okay, he's not that bad maybe if you were to talk about all that stuff. Okay.
I mean, there's a limit on how much to talk about work-related stuff, but some of it is fun.
Yeah. Entrepreneurial
some of us.
Yeah, entrepreneurial stuff, yes. I'm not sure if the things that happen in corporations are that fun, if you are allowed to talk about them.
True.
And if you date a spy, boy, you have a lot of fun stuff to talk about there. If they could tell you that they're a spy. I guess they date too, right? People who are spies, they also date their normal.
They do, but they may have fake personas.
True. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of hobbies that, I can talk about or do with the other person. You can only have so much hanging out watching Netflix or cooking dinner. I find, let me know for you, but it seems like people are huge into travel, talking about travel, and all their photos are like travel photos, but people love talking about travel and asking about the other person's travel. And I have traveled a lot in my life and I've lived in a lot of other countries. But for me, that topic can get boring. Yes, I know, especially when it's people that have office jobs and they go on a trip for like a week. And it seems like many people, all they do for a hobby is travel. But the travel's more like escape. They're escaping their life, and all they do while they're away is just eat in restaurants. So yeah, they're in a new place. They fly to like Puerto Rico or Italy or whatever, but they don't do anything there except for eat and sleep in a hotel. Or maybe they hike up the mountain to Machu Picchu to take a photo, and then they walk immediately back down. I want to see and hear what they're doing on the vacations and all this travel. Are they going out dancing? Are they taking, I don't know, all these tourist places also have a lot of other things to do. But if that's the main hobby you have is travel, what is to it other than getting on an airplane and eating in restaurants? Like you could do that in your city. I don't know. Just for me, it's not super interesting.
The way I would make it interesting, because this is one chapter of my life that hasn't been very explored, traveling. So I haven't traveled in my life. That's missing for me. But what would make it really worth the while is have somebody on, like a local, as my very personal guide in a way. Not a commercial guide, but somebody that is really like, they can take me to the places where he goes or she goes to, and have maybe join their friends or their group of friends. So somebody who can really take you, somebody who knows the places, and there you're outside of the hotel, restaurant.
Yes.
Okay.
Those have been my favorite vacations. Like I used to do couch surfing, like meet people that live there and explore the city with them, or say like foreigners that were living in that country, and they took me out and we got to do things I wouldn't do alone. But my idea of torture is when I've dated people and their vacation is sitting at the hotel pool the entire time and then flying back home.
that would be a waste of money probably, unless there's something there that is so different that made it worth the while just looking at that scenery.
Oh, like it's on a cliffside or Hawaii.
For instance, for me, in my home country, I love the mountainside. I don't like the seaside in our country. There are very few places where it's wild and beautiful and also clean. Otherwise, it's extremely polluted, loud, combinations of really bad music for me. Like on a beach, you hear 3-4 different types of music and it's, wow, too much. Like no peace there. So that's why in my country, I prefer the mountainside. And for me, a successful holiday is where I just get up on a mountaintop, I sit there and I watch the good old Romanian mountains and the good old Romanian sky. And I feel that wind blowing in my face and I get a headache next morning about it, but that's okay. But to me, that is bliss. So if anybody goes to a hotel and gets anything similar to that experience, in that situation, I would focus on, tell me how you felt and what happened to you.
Yes.
So I take them like, okay, what I see, the physical isn't so impressive. Did the spiritual side of it mean anything to you? Because there's the therapeutical side of just going in nature. So, yeah. So maybe that. I would still search, like before I call it a nightmare or a disaster, I would say, okay, look for that nugget of gem, I don't know, priceless something.
The priceless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you gotta learn to look for Mars and Sagittarius. I look for stuff. So I look for adventures. And if they're not in the physical, they gotta be in the conceptual somehow. So
yeah, and that's it. I'm the same way with that.
Yeah.
But if it's just no spiritual, just I go on vacation to just pass out at the pool and sleep because my life is very difficult. No.
No. Not my crowd.
That's not a fun story and not my crowd, right?
Yeah. What else did we have there in terms of hobbies? By the way, everybody watching, you guys and girls could actually share some of your hobbies that, maybe we try something based on your suggestions. What we had here was dance. You put a lot of dances there. I think you do more dancing than I do.
Oh, all kinds of dance. Belly dance, ecstatic dance at home, going to any kind of dance outside of the home, 5 rhythms group dancing, which is kind of a freestyle dance a lot of us hippie types enjoy. In groups, also Shiva Shakti type energy dance where you get like the masculine or feminine and you fully dance in that masculine, like a lot of hip movements. So you don't have to do organized dancing like samba or salsa or ballroom. If you love it, then yes, but you don't have to. If that's not available, you can still dance and move at home. I'm thinking about just ways to move the body, be healthy, get good chemicals going in the body, and maybe have something fun to talk about, or just be more limber. When you are having a lot of sex, you need to be more limber, and definitely dance does that.
Yeah, I agree with you here. Another thing that I would say is important, by the way, for the super athletic sex folks here, doing exercises for your spine. It's important to have a very mobile, flexible, youthful spine. So move your spine. One thing that I do for my spine is a movement from Tai Chi. A few years back, I did Tai Chi, just beginner level. And the warm-up included this movement where we rolled. So we put our chin to our chest and we rolled it back. And then we got up in front. We went like this. So we made huge circles with our chin. And we went one direction and then we went in the other direction. And you roll your spine a few times a day like this. Mm-hmm. It's important. I read somewhere that you're as young as your spine is flexible. So,
oh yeah, I believe that.
yeah. So, and sometimes in intimacy, you actually have a lot of movements that maybe you can't do very well because of your back. Ladies, some back bends, some, all crazy things. So, yeah. So, maybe that's one of the reasons why guys go for younger partners, because they're more flexible in their spine.
Mm.
Could be also that. I'm making slightly fun here, but that's not necessarily dancing, but that's important for your body. And also what I used to do still where I did Tai Chi, they also have these feminine practices. And we did a lot of hip openers and pelvic floor openers. And there were a lot of movements that actually involved us working on how much we can open our hips, basically. Not necessarily doing the spreads and all of that, no,
Yeah.
just other exercises to move our midsection better, including our hips. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that goes for guys too.
Definitely. Pelvic floor pain is a thing for guys also.
Yeah, or being able to just sit cross-legged.
Duh, I agree. Yeah, for a long period of time, definitely. Okay. What else did we say here? Let's see. In terms of hobbies.
Doing other spiritual practices added upon that, the spinal flexing, and that's sort of exercise as well, but it's also a way to move energy. It can be a spiritual practice. Another thing is, you mentioned femme porn. So, I mean, we haven't been talking about in our videos, singles dating who aren't having like a sex life, or maybe not much of it, but they still want to watch porn. I'm not into watching videos myself, but some people are, or are at least part of the time.
Yeah, a lot of people are. So I was looking at femme porn, as in femme fata, because at least there we see a more, how do I say this, beneficial version of engaging sexually also for women. Mainstream porn, free porn, a lot of it is built by guys for guys. Mm-hmm. And women there are really like, they're high in or endurance athletes, to put it like that, because most women could not do what those women do there. And
yeah,
reason women.
Yeah, I guess that's the big reason I don't like it. It seems so fake, and it is fake. They're filming for like an 8-hour day the same scene.
Yeah,
and the women are making all these fake noises. Like, you can tell when a woman's really means it and when she's being extremely fake to please the guy and to please the audience. Or they do things in porn that are not nice for women.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the idea of, if people watch porn and don't get addicted to it, they watch porn that is femme porn, or even like home video porn, but not like this fake porn stuff.
Yeah. I would encourage people to watch more technique videos. I mean, if you're going to spend your time watching something, why not watch? Maybe they're explicit, maybe they're not, but you learn a technique or two there. So I would definitely encourage people to, I mean, if you have this tooth for sex material, try some growth or development practices or classes or information there also. Because a lot of the stuff that is commercial is meant to hook you up and keep you there, and it doesn't represent reality. So maybe you want to, at least 1% of the time, watch stuff that is actually going to help you with insights, information. That's one surprise that I had when classes were up on Udemy. One person wrote to me. This was somebody that was working she was a sex worker. And she wrote to me because she wanted She was super curious about my class. She just bought it. And she shared, I'm a sex worker and I actually am looking forward to watching. She bought the massages. And I wrote back instant as fast as I saw the message. And I was like, wow, I did not expect somebody from the industry to actually want to buy my stuff because it's not expensive. And she said, no, I see that every day. I'm okay with that. It's like nothing new for me there. I'm actually looking at things. So a class might actually bring up a lot of stuff for me. I was like, wow, yeah, I didn't think that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like she sees that stuff all day. It's almost boring. You know, she's looking for sex with a deeper connection and using some of these other more erotic or sensual things rather than just going at it.
Yep. So that's my take on like all sorts of hobbies that are related to health and then to spending your time wiser and just learning. And then
expanding, learning, watching videos, reading, maybe even seeing a therapist to learn what direction we should go in. But that's another video on that. Just growing any way we can while we're still single and having hobbies to just have fun and be a happier person and to have things to talk about and be interesting on dates with new people. Or maybe meet someone while doing the new hobbies.
Yeah, that would be beautiful, actually. I hear it happens for some people.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to wrap up the video soon. Did we have any other questions we wanted to ask to people?
Not now. I mean, we asked throughout the video. I'm super curious how people go about, the hybrid dating for hobbies that people have, because I'm actually curious, maybe there's something new and maybe we could also try it. Hey, we can also learn from everybody here. So I'm totally in that perspective. What else did I invite people to share with us? Expectations. I would love to know more about expectations that people have. And yeah, if there's anything in particular they want us to approach, maybe also like put a question there. We think that we can approach it, we'll definitely.
Yeah, and outside of the box too. Any questions maybe we could answer in the future or things we didn't mention. Like today we talked about a lot of hobbies we can do in the house. But I know both of us are kind of outdoors people. We like going to parks, mountains. So for some people, they might not enjoy being inside dancing. Maybe they would rather do their fake dancing while gardening, just moving around gardening and bending over, doing squats, digging, or going on a hike, moving their body. So there's other ways they can do and move their body aside from what we've thought about today.
Yeah, some people are homebodies, some people are nature buddies. Okay, Debra, it was great again. Ooh, no, mine is snoring here, so I look forward to meeting you again, and I'm super curious with the comments we get. I'll definitely keep you posted, and depending on what we get, we might actually meet sooner.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, thanks for having me and talking about all this fun stuff today.
Yeah, I enjoy our talks, and I think they're getting longer because I enjoy them. So yeah. We're gonna, by the way, peeps, I was talking to Debra that maybe we'll be courageous enough to pull a Joe Rogan one. So 2-3 hours of talking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.